Usually, when people are possessing their mate, their children, working relationships, this concept of ownership, usually when people are doing this, they are experiencing insecurities within, fear, feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, and they have to have a sense of control. My name is Asha Sekhmet, and I am a wife, Tantra practitioner, thought leader, and the founder of the Maji Community. We are a spiritual community that's founded on indigenous practices to become closer to the Creator without strict religious doctrine. We practice tribalism, sovereignty, and polyamory. Now, I wanted to talk about this series that I'm going to go on for the next couple of videos on the concept of possession. So this is what causes a lot of people pain, and it actually carries through with you through generations as well, passed down to your offspring. And it's very deeply spiritual. I've seen situations where people possess their partner, right? This can show up in a multitude of ways. It just depends on the person's personality, right? If a person is invading or not allowing privacy, right, for their partner, that's one way. Another way it shows up is just if there is like a blockage in evolution, right? Possession prevents someone from their own growth, right? You're trying to be in control, and really it's coming from a person's ego. So they have to feel like they're in control, and that's how possession shows up. I've seen people possess their children, right? Just because, your child, is developing into a different person than what you may have wanted them to be, it's really a concept of possession when you want to remain in control, right, over their life decisions, or feel like you are still the primary influence over the path that they're going. And sometimes this can cause friction in relationships, because the reality is not even the God of the universe possesses us, right? We're all given free will, right? And we all do have paths. Like, we have a soul incarnation purpose, and we develop our own personalities, right? Regardless of where we come from, we're still, our own souls. Now, we can have things in our environment and people that influences the people that we become, but ultimately our destiny is ours, right? So this is very important to think about when you are in partnership, because with the modern, I would say, world, and especially in the US, this concept that they, push on to people to continue, a consumerism society that is not unified in community. What they push is this concept of ownership of your partner. And like I said, it shows up in very subtle ways. If you feel like you have to give your partner an ultimatum and stipulations surrounding their involvement with the opposite sex, that is possession, right? And I don't really use the language of like boundaries and these things like that when we're talking about a union in which, if you're following a natural blueprint of, trusting the spouse and the partner that you are with, and you all are building towards the same vision, it, to me, would be, okay, I trust that my partner is operating with integrity. I trust that my partner is someone who will not abuse, our union, our family, or allow anyone else to do that, right? So with that being said, it's really about trust, right? And in order for you to get to a place of trusting, right, like your partner, you have to trust yourself. You also have to feel a level of security within as well, to release this. But the thing that really gets people is that it's difficult to release the spirit of possession when you're not actively going through any experience in which you're experiencing what it's like to share your partner. Now, this doesn't mean that it has to be something that is romantically intimate. It could be in many different dynamics. Sometimes people spirit of possession comes up in co-parenting dynamics. I see this a lot, especially with women and men today. So this is the spirit of possession when a woman wants to use the child over the father in a means to continue to control him. That is the spirit of possession because she wants to control who he is, right? Like his heart, if he's in a new relationship with a woman, right? The next best thing she can do to try to control that man's life and get any energetic exchange, even if it's very negative and toxic, is to use the child. And there is spiritual repercussions for this as well. So this is just important to start realizing as we are heading and shifting into the new world. People who cannot release this frequency of needing to be in control and in their ego, they're going to be left behind because the new world is pushing us towards communal ways. And if you can't overcome this means that you're going to have a very difficult time even building communities with people. If you can't release this concept of feeling like you always have to be in control, right? The world doesn't work that way, and in a sense of community, right? And it was a time period in which people could pretend to be individuals and, be a different person, put your mask on when you go to work and then you're a different person at home. However, that's running out, right? Nothing lasts forever, right? We're looking at the global economic shift that's happening right now, right? In the US, the evolution of AI. We're talking about, a difference in generations, right? Gen Zs experiencing a different reality and coming into a different economy than what previous generations have experienced. And even so, it's still shifting. So all of the things are shifting with all the generations are going to be experiencing that. And we're definitely not going to set our children up for success if we're not understanding these deeper spiritual principles of relationships. And so this is why I am offering the Divine Community Healing Workshop. This is going to be a workshop that helps us heal our heart, release possession, and build towards sovereign community. I am going to be giving you the tools, which includes a workbook and reflective exercises, meditative experience, so that you can experience what it's like to release these old patterns that you've seen in your bloodline, in your own life when it comes to relationships, and also getting solutions to actually heal, right? I really take the predisposition that there is an expiration date with healing. I do think that because I'm always going through new versions of myself, right, as I'm growing. So if I'm healing, I'm not in the past, right? I've healed. So that means that I'm a new version of myself. That means I'm no longer in old patterns, right? I've developed a whole new way of being and interacting, and my whole reality has shifted because I've actually healed, right? When you heal, you put out a different broadcast, right? Your relationships change. Anyone that has gone through very deep inner work healing knows that this is the truth, that when you heal, everything in your life changes. Relationship with yourself, right? You literally start to see the power that you really hold within and that you are really your own savior. Join us for the Divine Community Healing Workshop Wednesday, March the 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This includes the Divine Community Workbook, 20% off the Divine Community ebook, and an interactive group exercises and meditative experience that helps you walk away with tools that helps you build conscious partnership and work towards sovereign community. This is about us developing to our higher selves. Now, the other thing that possession does is hold you down to juvenile development. When you have trouble releasing concepts of possession, it holds you down spiritually and from a developmental level. Even if you're 40 years old or older, you are experiencing your relational skills at a juvenile level. And so what we want to do is get the tools, experience a quantum leap to find the inner sovereignty within so that we're actually developing in real conscious partnership towards sovereignty. That's what we want to get out of this healing session. And you can come get the blueprint, the tools, the exercises, all of it will help you build long-lasting and sustaining community and working up towards that because you have freed yourself internally. And so you will experience the richness that comes in building relationships and having that be integrated into your life rather than living a life of separatism of relationships that doesn't really feel long lasting or spiritually fulfilling. So that's what this healing space is about. I look forward to seeing you all there. And you can register for the healing workshop by going to my website, ashasekhmet.com/store. And if you're looking for a one-on-one spiritual consultation with me, you can also book that on my website. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know any questions that you may have. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.